On tap, Daisy Cutter Pale Ale.
Better beer authority, better beer.
Hi, I'm Richard Hartogs, and this is the Better Beer Authority. Today we're drinking Daisy Cutter Pale Ale from Half Acre Beer Company. Visiting Half Acre was one of the highlights from my trip to Chicago last August. Thank you to Brian Leonard for sending me this beer. According to their website, Daisy Cutter Pale Ale is a West Coast pale ale chock full of dank aromatic hops. This one's a screamer, so hoard it, according to their website. It comes in at 5.2% ABV, and that's all the information given on their website. My job of introducing the beer just got easier. The panelist job, on the other hand, just got harder. Let the blind taste test begin. Christina, welcome to the show. You're officially the first female to be on this side of the camera.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, no problem.
Woo!
Happy to have you here.
Woo!
I want you to give me your impressions on this beer. Tell me about the aroma and the flavor.
Well, when I first smell it, I don't pick up a whole lot of aroma. It's not super strong. I get a bit of fruitiness. The taste, I get a little bit of hops on the back end. I would say I taste grapefruit. It's probably the fruit I taste the most.
Okay, awesome. Brian, tell me about the hop profile you get from this.
Kind of what Christina was saying. It is that kind of that grapefruit. So I'm thinking something like what we associate with like a West Coast, hop, something like either Cascade or Simcoe, something that's grown out west that is synonymous with like a West Coast style ale.
Awesome. Nick, welcome to your first blind review as well.
Thank you.
He's the beer monger at Arrow Wine and Cheese in Arlington, Virginia. You could follow him on Twitter at _beermonger. Nick, tell me what kind of malt profile you're getting, and anything stick out in this beer to you?
Well, it was interesting because I think in trying it, we were all trying to figure out exactly what the style of beer it was, and part of that was because of for me at least, the color. At first, when it was a little colder before it started warming up, it was so mild I almost thought maybe there was some wheat in there. But I think it's just more a straight up, almost old school pale ale kind of malt profile. It's something that's there, it supports the hops a little bit, but it's letting the earthiness and that kind of piney hop character come through. So if it is in fact actually, straight up pale ale, it's, really well done. It's, just with so many very, very hoppy pale ales out there these days, a lot of them add a ton of malt to try and balance some of that out. But I think this is just enough. It keeps it bright and very drinkable and really nice, actually. I like this a bit.
Awesome, thanks.
Yeah.
Christina, give me your rating and why, and is this something you would buy a six-pack of?
I would say it's about a 5. I think it's pretty average. I probably wouldn't seek out the 6-pack. And if I was at a bar, maybe I would drink it, but I probably wouldn't have another one.
Okay, 5.
Mm-hmm.
Brian, rating and why, and what do you think the ABV is?
Well, I'll give my ABV first. I think it's somewhere hovering around maybe the high 4s. So I think it's about a 4.8 or something like that. I would give it a 6, frankly, because in my estimate, I think it's close to what is now called like a session IPA or maybe a hopped up pale ale, which isn't, in terms of the texture of the body, it's not as inviting for me. I like a little bit more hazier, much more medium bodied beer, and this seems kind of what I've experienced with those session ales. So I stay at a 6.
Okay. And Nick, give me your rating and why. What do you think this beer is labeled as?
Yeah.
And can you pair this with food?
I think so. I'm going 7. I'm actually going high on this one. I think it may be to do with the fact that it's getting a little warmer out, and this is the kind of pale ale I would want to have, going into the summer. I'm thinking like soft shell season, stuff like that, and bringing up like the session pales and IPAs and stuff like that. It's, for me, this is kind of a classic American pale in that you do have something. It's not over the top feeling like strength wise or hop character. It's not super citrusy, but it's got some bite to it. It's got some body, and like I said, it's just mild enough overall that any kind of outdoor meal of any kind over the summer, I think this would be a good pale to go with. And I would recommend it at the bar, especially over some of those maybe maltier, richer style pales. So I'm more and more convinced this is a pale ale.
Okay,
So,
so 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
If the panel went further, there'd probably be 8, 9,
8, 9,
10. But it's not. So let me show you guys the beer.
Yeah, let's find out.
All right.
I've had this
Well,
before. I knew this is something
Here
I'd
you-
had before.
It's Half Acre Beer Company Daisy,
Daisy
Cutter,
Cutter.
Pale Ale.
Okay. I had this, and I've actually gotten to try the double
Chicago.
Daisy Cutter once.
There wasn't much information on the website. It said it was 5.2%. They also describe it as being a West Coast Pale Ale with, let me get back to my notes here, even though there's not many. West Coast Pale Ale chock full of dank aromatic hops. That's in 5.2%. That's basically the thing. So let me go back to Christina. Did this beer remind you of something you've had before?
It reminded me of kind of what Brian was saying, like a session IPA. I recently had Goose Island's session IPA. Kind of reminded me of that.
Okay. All right. Brian, have you had this beer before? What are your final thoughts?
I haven't had it before. I think, what is? Do we know what the calories are for this beer?
I don't.
Just curious.
I can tell you what the ABV is. That's the only information on the website.
Yeah, because after doing these shows and I put on a little bit of pounds, maybe I should start venturing off to these pale ales that are a little bit less potent for each can.
I see you have notes there from your wife. Is that
So I don't know.
Hi,
Before we
Leslie.
get more self-deprecating, let's move on. But, yeah.
Nick, this beer is slightly higher in ABV than all those new sessionable IPAs. Which would you rather have? This, which is a little more full body than the sessionable IPAs, or the sessionable IPAs?
It's tough. I mean, I think you almost have to go beer to beer when you talk about that. Upstairs, we were talking about Lagunitas Daytime, which I think is actually a good compromise. It is something that's got a little more aggressive bite to it, and it's a little lower ABV even than the Daisy Cutter is. Personally, I kind of prefer stuff like this. I've come back around on pale ale so hard over the past few months that this is exactly the kind of thing that I'm into right now. Again, so I don't know. The session beer thing, I'm all for as many good options in the lower ABV strength as you can get out there, and then from there it's just try them all and find the one that you like everything else.
Awesome. Well, Nick, thank you for being on the panel.
Yeah,
Christina,
Thank
thank you. Brian, sometimes a pleasure.
Wow.
Oh, it was a pleasure to see Brian. Daisy Cutter Pale Ale from Half Acre Beer Company gets a 6 on the BBA scale. Have you had this beer before? Leave your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get the videos as soon as they're released. I'm Richard Hartogs, and this is your Better Beer Authority.
Better Beer Authority. Better Beer